How's it going, folks? My name is Philip Gurley. I'm a district wildlife manager with Colorado Parks and Wildlife. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about my district here at the southeast part of El Paso County, kind of some hunting tips and what you can expect when you go out there to hunt. So, my district is comprised of GMUs 118, 119, and the northern part of 123. And just looking at this map here, you'll see that there's only a little bit of public access in each 118 and 119. So we have Turkey Track Ranch State Trust land, and that's going to be almost 8,000 acres. And then we have the Bret Ranch State Trust land, that's going to be almost 50,000 acres. And so we're going to kind of break this down by GMU, and we're going to talk a little bit about the hunting tactics and what you can expect when you go out there. And so we're going to start with 118. So Turkey Track is going to be at the intersection of Squirrel Creek Road and Peyton Highway. Like I said, it's about 8,000 acres, and what you can typically find out there are pronghorn and mule deer. On good wet years, you will find decent populations of dove in there, and every once in a while you'll find a scaled quail here and there, but they tend to stay on neighboring properties. When a lot of folks go out there, they look to see 8,000 acres and they think that is a lot of acreage, and realistically it's not a huge parcel for the amount of hunting pressure that gets on it. So there are 3 parking areas, and understand that you do have to park in the designated parking areas when you're hunting on this property. If you decide to park alongside the roads or anywhere that's not permitted, you could potentially get a citation. So there's 3 parking areas, 2 on Peyton Highway and 1 on Squirrel Creek. And what you'll typically find out is those earlier seasons are probably the better seasons to hunt out there, whether it's archery, muzzleloader, or that first rifle for pronghorn and deer. The late seasons for pronghorn run the entire month of December, and what you'll typically find is that the pressure from the earlier seasons have pushed a majority of the animals to the neighboring properties. There are still a good chunk of animals that do move through that property, but they're going to be far and few between because of the pressure. And so, although there are animals on the property, there's not a lot of high success in that December season. Moving over to GMU 119, we have the Bret Ranch State Trust land. Like I said, it is almost 50,000 acres. Again, this is one of the properties where you do have to park and access in the designated parking areas. And as of right now, we have 7 designated parking areas. We're looking to add an 8th one this year alongside County Road 11. We do have a pronghorn, mule deer, white-tailed deer, and some decent dove populations in there. Still Fork Creek does run through the center of the property. There are some ponds along Still Fork Creek, and so there is opportunity for waterfowl hunting. But understand, since it is a state trust land, access is only a half an hour before sunrise. So I know it makes it difficult for some waterfowlers to go out there and hike in to the ponds and set up their decoys and be ready to go before shooting light, because it only allows 30 minutes prior to sunrise. But what I can tell you is that from experience being out there on those ponds, the waterfowl do move in and out all day. I think this would be a good opportunity to do some jump shooting along the creek and hike in there and do that. For me, I don't think this is a great decoy type of hunt. I think it's more of a kind of a jump shooting along the creek type of hunt. What you will find is that this property can be difficult to hunt because of its sheer size. I know I went out there and hunted muzzleloader with my buddies last year, and we covered 15 miles in one day, and we only got 1 shot at a pronghorn. And so it can definitely be a challenging property, but when you get out there, it does provide some good quality big game hunting. I have had several folks go out there try to look for some scaled quail. There's a few on the far southwest corner of the property. They tend to not be on the property all that often, and they sit on some of the neighboring properties. Like I said earlier, there is a decent amount of doves because of the water source out there, Still Fork. Creek does run most of the year. There's some natural springs on the property, and so it can provide some good dove hunting out. I guess another thing we can talk about, one thing that you can see on this map are the areas highlighted in gray. And so these areas highlighted in gray, you may see them on Onyx maps as blue as state trust land. But understand that there is a big difference between the state trust land that we have a lease on and the state land that's owned by the state land board. So when you're going out there and you're doing your research and you're looking for places to hunt and you see these little tracts of land that stay Colorado state land, understand that there's a big difference in that these are still considered private property because they are leased through the state land board and there's agricultural leases on them. And so when you're looking at your Onyx maps, please be certain to take a look at the ones that you actually have access to, and those are typically shown in light blue dots. And so if you go to the Bret Gray Ranch STL on Onyx maps, it will say, Bret Gray Ranch, State Trust Land, public access, and then it will be highlighted with little blue dots. Whereas if you just pick out a state land parcel, it'll typically say no public access. And so make sure to pay attention to that because, that's where we run into some trespass issues out there. I hope you found all this information well, and you guys get out there, you do some hunting in 118, 119, and good luck. And if anybody should have any questions, feel free to contact the Southeast Regional Office here in Colorado Springs, and they will get you into connection with me, and we can talk much further. You guys have a good day.